Community is a powerful way of translating what we've learned into action. And I didn't want to live like a hypocrite. I wanted to be raw and real. And I knew that to create change here on Earth, we need a different type of power.
I'm making this documentary as part of a bigger project where I am interviewing people about their soul purpose and how they're living that in the world. And I wanted to start with Yasmine in Egypt, who had a vision to start a community in far southern Egypt. The community is set up in the ruins of an old Nubian village that was slowly abandoned as more and more people were drawn to the bigger towns and cities. And Yasmine connected with one of the young leaders of that community to see if they would be interested in collaborating to bring the village back to life. I met Yasmine a couple of years ago just as the seeds of this idea were being born, and I wanted to see how it was starting to take shape in reality.
I grew up with an Egyptian father, raised in Egypt from the age of 11. He was hard, very strict father. So I got severely punished for dancing, beat up for dancing, or listening to music. At some moment, it wasn't my world, it wasn't a place for me to be. Yeah, wanted to die desperately, and I attempted to take my life. At 17, I stood on top of my school building 5 stories high, and I jumped, and I was free. It was a miracle. How I healed, the whole thing was a miracle. And I remember when I came out of the coma, I was like, okay, so what am I here for now? We have the potential to create the most wonderful symphony. We're not starting to really open up and crack open our heart, then so much potential of creation and co-creation gets lost. So how do we hold each other accountable and to humble ourselves? Coming together is hard, and the individual body is very noisy and messy, and we'll realize we're not so great, and our identity will start to crack. When we started our community, I didn't realize I had such a prickly, hard shell and no one could get through. I was so hard and so rude. My coping mechanisms didn't work. I tried to put others up. People left feeling sad and angry. I thought I was coming to Yasmine, this put together, amazing, whatever. And that was my dark night of the soul. It's the work of soul emergence, the work of leaning in with group, the sense of not being isolated and doing it all by myself. Through the group, I accessed such a profound part of myself that was connected to power, that was connected to my life force, that was connected to my rage, to my yes, to my no. But mainly what I've learned is be honest and share vulnerably where I'm at, and I'm surprised again and again how warmly that's received by beings. Community is a powerful way of translating what we've learned into action. And I didn't want to live like a hypocrite. I wanted to be raw and real. And I knew that to create change here on Earth, we need a different type of power. And it wasn't going to just come from light and love. I knew if I wanted to ground my spiritual practice into something tangible, I needed to go home, back to the land, and begin to build this vision I've had for a very long time. A place where people could come to live a more devoted life together and build it from the ground up. this village is being set up, holding the anchor point for what soul economics looks like in the world. Most people that come to these lands are coming here to build hotels and to take, and we'd like to create something in a very, very different way. So it all started as a dream. 6 months ago, these buildings were nothing like this, and we dreamt it into life. We said, patience. Let's build this village on patience. I arrived knowing I must honor the land and its people and its ancestors, but I did it in a way that was just whenever I felt like it. But on a land like this, it was a real wake-up call that this is something to do every day. And nature is always giving all the time. The sun always shines, water is always flowing, breath is always available. So it's that notion of, as I give, I become like nature, and thus I receive all the power. Because what I learned from beings here is the way they do their work, by tending to the small things, by doing their small rituals, they have a different way of accessing power that I can only learn from them. Without the soul, none of this would be possible. I mean, otherwise it's just trying another community experiment that I don't feel will last, because that deep intimacy is missing, and we need that.
If any of the themes in this week's episode spoke to you, I would love to hear about it in the comments, and it'd be really meaningful if you subscribe to our channel to support its growth.